Hey everybody, long time no see. It's Achilles. Sorry I haven't been updating lately. But good news is I'm going to be back on this channel a lot more throughout the summer because I graduated my high school as the first transgender graduate and I'm pretty excited. So today basically I'm going to be talking about what has been going on around me and around the transgender community, the LGBTQ community in general. Basically, as everyone is well aware by now, today is the day after um, the shooting in Orlando at the Pulse Club. Some information that a lot of people don't know about that shooting, besides the casualties, was that it was a Latino night at the club, and a trans entertainer was there. Um, I think we can all draw our own conclusions from that information. But also, the motivation of the shooting has also been in conflict. A lot of people have been blaming it on radical Islam, even though the people close to the shooter have been saying that it wasn't religion. It was just that he saw two gay people kissing and got angry. Also, multiple sources say that people who were there, people who worked there, people who knew people who were there are saying that there is two other shooters that have not been apprehended, but this information hasn't been spread very much to avoid public panic and probably a witch hunt. Um, and this is not the first shooting we've seen at all this year. In America, we've seen over 170 shootings, and I don't think there's been that many days in the year yet. It's just the middle of June. And this isn't the first hate crime this year. This is not the first hate crime towards LGBT people this year. Recently, Target had this really wonderful policy that they passed, letting trans people use the bathroom of their choice. And people have been trying to say that, like, people, perverts are gonna come in the bathroom and assault their kids, when in reality, the most common face of trans people is just people like me trying to get in there, pee, wash your hands, dry your hands, and walk out. I don't like going to the bathroom. Actually, since I was a little kid, I have had a phobia of using the restroom, and I've only used a public restroom 2 times in my life because of how fucking terrified I am that someone is going to beat me. And this has been going on since I was like in preschool and first grade. I never used the bathroom at school. I never used the bathroom like on a road trip. And I had to sit through 8-hour days in my high school not being allowed to use the restroom. Like, there have been days where I almost like pissed myself because my school did not allow me to use the restroom. And that's what this law is like making happen. Like that's it. You guys aren't, you know, protecting anyone, or like maybe like 1-2 cases, but it's really obvious when it's a trans person and someone in drag. Trans people usually have gone through hormone therapy, and if they haven't, they are usually as much transitioned as they can be, and they try very much to pass, and they've been spending years trying to like make themselves pass as who they are on the inside, and it's not the same as someone who has just come up in a dress and walked in, and that has not happened. Like, that has not happened as often as trans people have been assaulted and killed outside restrooms. And there has even been the bombing of a Target restroom to make a point to scare us to be like doing a natural right, to say that we can't use the restroom. I'm 17 years old, and people across the nation hate me. People want me to die because I want to use the restroom when I go shopping at Target. I'm just trying to buy like some M&Ms, probably fucking Pokemon game, and people think I shouldn't be allowed to do that, and that just makes no fucking sense. And this is this is not the first time my community as a whole has faced this kind of hate. As a person, I have been kicked out of many places for being transgender. My mom is disabled. She is in her 70s or 80s. She doesn't tell me her age, but she's really old, and we have to take taxis whenever she has to go to the doctor. And we were on the way to the doctor, and we took a cab, and the person running the cab kicked me out because of how I look. He screamed at my elderly mother for how I was dressed. He was like, "Oh, why are you letting your kid dress up like that? Why are you letting your kid be like that?" And it just astounds me how you can harass a child. I was 15 years old, and I look 15 right now. So imagine how tiny I was back then. And an old lady, and she had a walker. She came to the cab in a wheelchair. I had to put the wheelchair back in our house. And that's who you're harassing. That's who this law is hurting. And it's just the mindless hate and using children and innocent people as chess pieces to fuel a politically charged atmosphere just to have political gain. What is the point of hurting all these people? And we've already been hurting by ourselves. 49% of trans people attempt suicide. I'm part of that statistic. If there weren't so many hospitals around here, I would be part of the statistic that dies before the age of 20. And in the hospitals, the treatment that I've endured, which I've previously made videos on, we're already in pain. 18% of kids like me count for the homeless youth. 18%. And there's 1 in 1,000 people that are transgender, and that many of us are homeless. I've been homeless 2 times for being transgender in my house. 1 in 12 transgender people in America are murdered, and make that 1 in 8 if you're a trans woman of color. And I'm sure maybe some of you have heard of the trans women that have been killed outside of bathrooms recently because of the anger and the misguided hate when they were just doing nothing wrong, just trying to be human beings and live just like everyone else. And it's just, I don't understand the benefit in hurting all of these people for what? To protect a majority when the minority is the one that is really being hurt. 25% of transgender people have needed violence assistance programs in their life because of hate crimes. 26 reported needing anti-violence services some point in their life. And transgender adults, 50% of them have been survivors of violence and abuse. And when I turn 18, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be part of that statistic too. Being beaten in our homes, assaulted, raped, and now killed. Even though this has been going on for years, just the massive amount of hate is just so misguided. And it's so unnecessary to be killing so many innocent children and adults who have done nothing wrong except for being framed for some hypocritical reason. It's just, I'm tired of seeing this happening. And I want this to be the last shooting, even though it won't be. And I want that to be the last murder I hear about, and it won't be. And that's just wrong.